Call it what you want, but prepping is a culture. And as with any cultural group, that group has subcultures. You have extremists, you have centrists, you have liberal preppers, and you have conservative preppers. And each group has their own perspective on things. But regardless of the differences within the group, why is it that preppers seem to be their own worst enemy? I mean, let's face it, if you know one, they're just a step down from vegans and CrossFitters when it comes to conversation. They always want to turn the conversation around toward what they like to do and their personal beliefs. And the fact is, they're just too willing to talk about it. You sit down for a few minutes with one, and now you know how much food they've got on hand, how many weapons they have, and how long they could survive in an apocalypse. Which, to be honest with you, that's not really good information to be spreading, because now everyone who knows you knows that if they are not prepping themselves, if something happens, they know they're going to come to your house. That's a horrible plan. And quite frankly, most people just don't like talking about it. For one, it makes them uncomfortable. It makes them think about their own mortality, and quite possibly the things that they have not done to stave that off. Let's face it, people need to be validated. Even if you have a belief that you feel very strongly about, if others don't believe the same way, it makes you question your own decisions. And that's when people start getting really uncomfortable and really defensive. Throughout the history of mankind, there have always been instances where people believed a certain way and tried to force those beliefs onto others. And it creates friction in social environments that makes people uncomfortable. And once you become uncomfortable around somebody who is preaching a certain topic, then you become uncomfortable around that subject and you want nothing to do with it. There are a lot of people out there who refuse to prep because they knew somebody that was into it that rubbed them the wrong way. And they were probably extremely forceful about it, which made them develop a distaste for the topic. I mean, there's probably a whole lot of preppers out there that questioned what they were doing and started thinking, maybe I'm the one that's nuts. And because nobody else wants to hear what they've got to say, that makes them feel extremely insecure. Now all of a sudden, this person has to become more and more forceful so that others share that point of view, because now they don't feel quite so crazy. Quite often, preppers have extreme views and believe in things that sound extremely bizarre to other people. They often go in for weird conspiracy theories and believe in things that nobody else seems to want to try to get their head around. You know, it's fine and dandy to believe in things like aliens, but if you are constantly going around telling people that you're prepping for an alien invasion, nobody's going to want to hear anything else that you've got to say. And if you're spouting every conspiracy theory that comes along without vetting it, then guess what? You're the boy who cried wolf. And when something finally does come around and you're trying to warn people of it, no one's going to listen. There's the national test everybody's going nuts about. In this day and age of social media and the mindset that comes with it, a lot of people find their ideology in social media. They don't do any research for themselves. So once somebody comes along and starts telling them that this particular group is crazy or that particular group is an enemy, then people will buy into that. And let's face it, most preppers make themselves easy targets. So once you start spouting nonsense and then it gets to social media and everybody's pointing at you going, this guy's a weirdo, then guess what? Everyone else thinks you're a weirdo too. Not necessarily because you've shown that you kind of think outside of the way most normal people think, but now people have been told this is odd behavior. And if that's how people are forming their opinions, now you're the oddball. And at that point, people are no longer going to listen to the mission. They're just going to listen to the hype. I can stand here and talk to you about disaster preparedness, but I can guarantee you that a lot of people that are hearing that are going to go to some episode of Doomsday Preppers with some nut job spouting nonsense, and that's what they're going to think all of us are into. Remember that the more crazy you sound, the more it's going to impact every other prepper out there. And maybe that's what some people want. Maybe some people are thinking, hey, if I act crazy, maybe it'll push people away and nobody's going to come sniffing around. But that does affect your ability to talk to family and friends about disaster preparation. If nobody wants to hear it, then you're alone in that mission. And let's face it, there's been a fair share of nut jobs out there that people see in national media, and that colors their perspective on the entire culture. You got people like Lori Vallow, who murdered her children because of her extremist beliefs. You've got doomsday cults that stockpile food and water and supplies and weapons, and then they all collectively take themselves off the board together in some bizarre scene that plays out across international media, and you expect anybody is going to want to listen to a regular, everyday person talk about disaster preparedness because they just watched what happens to people with that mindset. Everything you do or say as a prepper impacts everybody else. So my advice is stop being a stereotype. Stop being that guy that sets the bar for what people think is weird. Be that person that advocates careful preparation for disasters. You can be as extreme as you want to be, but shut up about it. Get your stuff together. Prepare for whatever it is you think is coming. Tell other people, be prepared for disasters. Tell them to prepare their homes for natural disasters or power outages or whatever else might be coming down the line. Stop telling them about the aliens. Stop telling them about the government death rays. Stop telling them about all the crazy stuff and just tell them to prepare. If you want to continue to provide entertainment for everyone else, and if you want to continue to make things difficult for every other prepper out there to be taken seriously, then you do you. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you take something away from it. But until the next time, prepare for the world that you live in, not the one you wish existed. And we'll see you next time. Is that aliens? There's a spaceship.